The Eric McKenna project was formed in March of 2019 by Pittsburgher Eric McKenna. The project is free-form and unscripted, with discussions that are unvarnished and purely authentic. Additionally, each engagement is professionally filmed and recorded at Eric's Boogie Street studio, located in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Guests are by invitation only and come from all walks of life. Discussion topics include business and entrepreneurship, science, art, music and film, comedy, and other entertainment disciplines. Eric's biography includes Pittsburgh Realty agent, radio broadcaster, speaker, and guitarist. Additionally, Eric is the founder of Boogie Street Guitars, a guitar design and marketing firm which has worked with most notably Dimebag Darrell and Kiss legend Paul Stanley. Since 2023, the Eric McKenna Project podcast is exclusively presented by the Cozza Law Group, Pittsburgh's premier business attorneys.
Are you kidding me?
No doubt. Well, thanks again for having me, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for doing it. Well, when I was told, I think I found out you were writing the book while you were writing the book. So I was looking forward to that, and I figured, well,
yeah,
whether it sold or whether it didn't, and obviously it has certainly sold, I was having you.
Awesome.
I wanted inside the brain, of course.
Oh, yeah. It's wild.
But we were just laughing, and all my friends, all of my really dynamic friends are all authors now.
What are you waiting on?
That's a couple levels above me.
The memoir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I change all the names to protect the guilty.
Yes. I did that. I can't tell you how many times people will message me or call me and they're like, Chapter 7, who was that really? And I'm like, you will never know.
Yeah, you can't. You got to go to your grave with
You
those,
will never
buddy.
know. I actually put a disclaimer in the front of the book about it.
Well, I mean, isn't that the correct thing to do? Really?
If I was celebrating somebody, I used their real name.
Yeah, of course.
If I wasn't, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like Joaquin and Javier.
Those are good ones. Those are good names.
Yeah.
I thought years ago, like, so to me, my story is kind of unique and weird, but my childhood is really interesting. And I always said I could do this and change all the names. And some of it's actually unbelievable, but it would all be true, but the names would be different. But then I step back from it and I say, but is that pretty much the case with everybody? Is my situation just like everybody's situation? You know what I mean? Like you can't quantify because you only know your own story.
Oh, man.
So
yes,
that's why I was like, I don't know if this is sellable, But anyways, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother. It's always good to be.
Well, I know your schedule's insane, so I appreciate you carving out some time.
Absolutely, always.
When did you decide you wanted to write a book?
Yeah,
not an essay.
Yeah.
Not a blog.
This is the thing, right? When I transitioned from my corporate job, and I was going to go into this space with this mountain climb of hopefully being a thought leader and serving people and all of this, I kind of knew like this, if you're going to be a thought leader, you probably should write a book. So it was always on the back burner because I always had other things to do. But what was really happening was I was procrastinating. Why? Because I suck at writing. Do I even have enough material to even write a book? What would I write it about? It seems very time consuming to me for no really end game, like other than to check a box and say you wrote a book. So I knew I needed to, but I just kept putting it on the shelf for the sake of doing more productive things. And this just kept stirring for years and years and years until I hit this pivotal moment that it was like the light bulb went off and I'm like, okay, maybe now's the time. Mm-hmm. And so there was a definitive moment that happened that really generated this. I'm doing it.
What was that?
I had a guy by the name of Tim Elmore on my show. Tim, I knew of Tim through Maxwell Leadership. What I didn't know was Tim used to work for John back in the day.
Okay.
One of John's first several employees, if you will. He spent several years with John and then went out on his own. How I knew him, though, was I bought a book when my son was young about raising leaders. And the book fascinated me, so I kind of started following his content. I knew he was one of 6 Maxwell thought leaders, so he's credible. And I just read his material over the years. Well, he was launching. I tried to get him on my show, and it fell on deaf ears, as it does. I get it. You know, you got to fight for time. But he was launching a book, and I thought if there's ever a time he's going to come on, it's now. And so I sent him a video on LinkedIn, 59-second video of why he should be on my show. I read your book, the impact, and he said yes. So here's one of my heroes, if you will. And we're on the show, and I am fully prepared. And at the end of the show, I said, do you have time for 2 questions? And he said yes. 2 questions ends up being longer than the show. And he says, if you're ever in the Atlanta area, we should grab lunch. I'm like, without thinking, I said, I'm actually going to be in Atlanta soon. And he said, here's my executive assistant's number. Let's see if we can make our schedules work. And I just messaged her and I said, I'm going to be in Atlanta soon, and my schedule's pretty flexible. Can you let me know his availability? And so she was like, he's available, and vetted, like, did he really say that and all that? And so here we have this lunch date. I flew down, Ubered to the restaurant, had the meeting, Ubered back to the airport, and came home. But here's what happened in that meeting. I had 7 questions on a tablet paper, and he's ready to answer questions. You know, I'm not there to answer his questions, right? And I asked a question that prompted him to ask me, have you written a book? And I'm like, oh, here we go again. I got to dance around the question. No, but you know, Tim, I'm really going to. It's been on my list of things to do. And he said, move it to number 1. And I said, why are you so passionate about it? I know you've written 37 books, so I get it. And he said, have you ever, think about this. You're at breakfast with a bunch of your buddies, and a storm went through last night, and you had 15 shingles that blew off your roof, and it's leaking, and you're telling your buddies the story. And your one buddy across the table says, Jeff, you need to get a hold of Eric. Eric wrote the book on roofing. And he said, Eric did not write a book on nothing. What your buddy was saying is he's an expert. And he said, and that's why you need to write a book. And so he goes right into it, and he said, what would you write a book about? And I said, I have this keynote called The State of Readiness. It's about my journey. And he's like, listen, well, I don't know you that well, but that's not your book. And let me tell you why. Nobody cares. Direct.
Ooh.
Nobody cares about your story,
Ouch.
Jeff. And I'm like, well, my wife does.
Uh-huh.
You know, sarcastically. He's like, hear my heart, Jeff. I think your story's amazing. But no, you haven't given anybody a reason to care. You need to write a book that serves people. What are people in your community swimming towards? And I said, well, I built this workshop during COVID. And here's the why I built it. Here's my research that I did. And the workshop is sold out every time I've had it. And he said, that's the book. And he said, I'm going to tell you, I'm in your space. And this isn't being talked about well. This is the book. And that's how I came up with the content of the book.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful, huh?
Started putting the outline together. I'm now mentally committed to doing it. but I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. Like, what do I do? Get a pen and a legal pad? Like, how's this
You
work?
need an old school typewriter, you know, banging it with your fingers.
I need to go like, Hemingway style and rent a cabin and write nude. Like, what is it that I'm going to do?
Bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. Like, so I didn't really know like what to do. So I just started ramping up journaling specific to my thoughts.
Yeah.
I know the content in and out. I've seen the fruit of it. But how do I make it into a book? Well, you take your content, you tell better stories that are sticky and people can relate to and all of this. So, I don't know, 4 months after that lunch meeting, Tim calls me and he says, you remember that conversation we had at lunch? I'm like, yeah. He said, I've had that no less than 1,000 times. And I'm waiting on the call from you because I get it from so many people, which is, what do I do now? He said, so me and my friend, Sangram, we're holding an event. It's going to be the first of its kind. And it's going to be the inaugural event. And we're calling this event A Book in a Weekend. And we're making a big deal of this. We're going to have teachers like Don Yeager, who just wrote Deion Sanders' book. We're going to have John Maxwell teaching. We're going to have Andy Stanley, Valerie Burton. I'm going to be teaching. We're titans of industry. We're going to have representation there from the likes of Simon & Schuster and Maxwell Publishing. Mark Cole, the CEO of Maxwell, he's going to be in the room. So think American Idol for aspiring authors.
Right.
We're only taking 20 people. It's an application. It's a vetting process. I'm not making the decision. We have a board. You and I are friends. If you get in, it's not because of me. If you're out, it's not because of me. But you should apply. And I did. And there were hundreds of applications. And he's giving me updates. Like, we got a lot of impressive people applying. And then I got the call, you're one of 20. And so they're having this big event at Lake Okanini. I'm butchering it. Somewhere in northeast Georgia at a lake at a Ritz-Carlton. And it's bougie, and I'm going to be one of 20 people that are going to pitch in front of the entire room to 3 sharks. And I'm day 2. And so I got my outline together, got my pitch together, and now I'm preparing for this Book in a Weekend event. It was wild.
I bet.
It was wild.
I bet.
And there we went. The day before I left, I almost didn't go.
Why? Wait, what? Back up. What?
I know. I'm in the room.
You missed your flight.
I just got freaked out. He's telling me the kind of people that are going to be in the room, and I started playing the comparison game. And I'm like, what is the point? I'm never going to win. These people are like freaking amazing. Now, let me back up. If you win this event, you get published by a top 3 publisher, which this means more to me now than it did then, because I didn't even know what that meant. But for example, like if you want to get published by Simon & Schuster, you can't just say, I'll pay you $100,000. Will you publish me? They won't. It's kind of like trying to get on a huge record label, right?
Right.
Like you can't just do that.
Right.
You gotta have something of substance.
Sure.
And so this event was like, if you win, the door opens. I didn't really know what that meant, but what I did know was the people in that room were way more qualified than me. And so it's
Makes
like,
it all sweeter, though, doesn't it?
oh, imposter syndrome hit me so hard, Eric. And I'm not telling anybody it's that, but I'm saying, look, the event's, it's an expense maybe we don't need right now. Plus, like, you're talking about 3 days away from, HQ here. We got so much going on. We got workshops we're trying to build and fill.
Trying to convince yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because then if I can convince myself, I'm not going because I'm scared. I'm not going because I have better things to do.
You created your own excuse.
Right. So I threw myself on the plane and went. I did not sleep. My pitch was Sunday morning. I'm watching all these pitches Saturday. And I'm like, what am I doing here?
Do you think that was smart to do it over again?
You had to.
Oh, you had to sit through them.
Oh, yeah, that was part of it.
Oh.
It was part of the learning. Because then, whether you win or lose, you got 10 months of coaching and resources.
I get that.
But I'm watching these
so
people.
You were present for the who was
made it worse.
Yeah, that's interesting that they put you all together.
Oh, it was wild. Great people. But here comes comparison and all this stuff. And here's what we know. We've talked about it on past shows. You've had amazing guests. Get in the room that makes you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Listen, I didn't go to bed probably until my body was at sheer exhaustion Saturday night at like 3 a.m, ready to throw up the next morning. And I was prepared. Like, I could do the pitch in my sleep. It was just this mind game, but I got up and I remember walking to the room that morning and I said to myself, you're not here to win a contest. You're not here to win a contest. You're here to serve people. Mm-hmm. I had to put why am I on the journey? I had to remind myself because I'm a competitor and I hate to lose. And if I made this a contest, it was just going to make it worse. So I didn't make it a contest. And I said, just go in that room and serve people.
Stay on mission.
Stay on mission. That helped me pitch with emotion.
Sure.
Long story short, 2 weeks later, I got a call and I won. What happened after that was unbelievable. The floodgates of opportunity opened up in a way that I don't even have words to explain. It's been an unbelievable ride.
At that point, did your plan initially for the book change at all after you won that?
Yes. The idea for the book didn't change.
Right.
The pursuit of how we were going to get to the end changed dramatically because there was things presented to me that I didn't even know existed. Like one of the things was one of the senior leaders at Maxwell Leadership. I was on a call with him one day and he said, "Do you want your book to be a best-selling book?" And I said, "Of course." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Why? Why?" And we had this very deep conversation about why I wanted this book in hands. Not because I wanted a trophy, but because I believe what I wrote in that book can change lives because it changed mine. And he said, "Then I need to introduce you to this marketing firm out of Nashville. They have a playbook that will teach you things about book launches that the world just doesn't know. And somebody like you as a beginning author would never know. And this is a firm that helps John launch his books, Lewis Howes, mm-hmm. Ed Milet. I could go down mm-hmm. the list." And I'm like, dang, here we are in another uncomfortable room. And I said yes. And so I partnered with that firm and they helped give us a roadmap. I got introduced to the writing coach that has supported the likes of Dave Ramsey. Mm-hmm. So now the connections are happening. Your network is your net worth. I just got introduced through this process to some people that have been where I was trying to go. Right. And so I created a business. Like, I got with Rocco and I'm mm-hmm. like, I think we just started another company. Like, this is more intense. I thought I was just writing a book. It's so much bigger than this. And so we created another company, Hancher Media. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we better get this thing isolated from the other business, right? And so it's been just unbelievable. So a lot of work into the launch and the market responded, which has been unbelievable.
Talk to me about like the editing process. I mean, how much do you write and then how much gets the ass torn out of it?
Wow, that's a great story. I got to build this one up a little bit. It's worth it. When I was still at my corporate job in the spring of 2019 is when I launched my podcast. I had no intention of starting a company. I just started a podcast to serve people. And I was never on Instagram, none of this stuff. But a friend of mine was like, "You should at least post your podcast content." And I'm like, all right. When I say I was posting content, I was taking one quote from the show and putting it in like word swag and posting it. Like that's what I was doing. And I would write a little caption about what I talked about in the show. And Abigail would message me from time to time and say, your word's spelled wrong, or your grammar's off. I just wanted you to know, I know you're a person of excellence and I love what you're doing. And I just wanted you to know, if it offends you, like, I'll back off. And I'm like, actually, I could really use another set of eyes. And she's like, yeah, no problem. Well, I keep making mistakes. And one day she calls me and she's like, would you mind if I just did this for you? And I'm like, well, this isn't really a company. Like, I can't pay you. And she's like, oh, I don't want paid. I just want to make sure that what you do gets to the right eyes. And I'm like, sure. So she starts ramping this messaging up. She's still with me today. What I come to find is she's this amazing writer. She does all of my show notes. She does our newsletter. She does most of our captions, not all of them. So when they asked me, are you a writer or an author? And I said, I'm an author. I am not a writer. I could show you my high school manuscript to prove it. And they said, well, then we're going to assign you to a writer. And I said, well, before we do that, I have somebody on my team that I want to write this book. And they're like, Jeff, this, all due respect, we're at a different place. Like, this is like country music in Nashville. Mm-hmm. We need experts helping you write this book. And I said, well, how do we know she's not? Well, because she's never really done it before. And I said, guys, look, if you can make one exception, I need this to happen. And they said, we'll do it under one exception. There's something in the industry called a book doctor. Didn't even know they existed. Meaning when you turn in a garbage manuscript, the book doctor comes in and fixes it. And they cost about $8 to $10 grand, depending on how butchered the book is. And I said, okay, I agree. I'll hire a book doctor if that's what we need. So we hired a coach, he wasn't writing the book, but a coach who's the guy that has supported Dave Ramsey, and just help us outline the book and whatnot. We turn in the manuscript, we get a call, and they said, this is the best manuscript that we've received in over 12 months. Minimal edits. Our editing virtual meeting is probably not going to take more than 30 minutes. It's clean, Jeff. And we pride ourselves in finding problems.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. So the editing process was not really that intense, other than, what do you want the book cover to look like? Hey, you might want to change these couple of things. You might want to add a graphic here. It was stuff like that. But Abigail Condon, if you're listening, man, she hit the cover off the ball. It was unbelievable. We would sit every week. We would sit for about 90 minutes. And I would just tell the story, deliver the framework. Now, she's been with me for 5 years, so she's been in all the workshops and sees it, and she knows my voice, if you will.
Sure, 100%.
And then she just asked a lot of questions, and the next thing you know, we got 12 chapters in a book. It was wild.
Did you dictate a good portion of the book? How much writing did you do?
Like pen in my hand?
Yeah.
Zero. It was all from my mouth. I'm not a writer. I hope that gives somebody great hope.
It gives me tremendous hope.
Now, what I will say, I think ghostwriters get a bad rap, and rightly so, because what some ghostwriters do is they write a book for a big name, and they say, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, let it rip. That's not what I did.
Right.
What I did was I sat in front of Abigail for 90 minutes, and at one time we did a book retreat, and we did 3 days.
Right.
Of just intensive. And it would be me telling the story and then reading how she crafted the words, and what that looked like. no, that's not what I meant. This is what I wanted. This was the story. And this story needs to go here, and here's why. And so she just took all this download and made it into something that Eric could sit down and read it and make sense of it. Mm-hmm. That's where the help came from. Which I will tell you, like, without her, that I'm not that guy.
I totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it.
It was great.
Yeah. And that's what's, I think, exciting about that process to me, because you could be the subject, your experiences could be the subject of something so amazing, but because of your skill set, you're just not equipped for whatever reason to lay it out in a fashion which is interesting or can catch the eye or get the message across.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
And to have, I think, enough foresight to, because I would imagine a lot of people want to do it all on their own too. I would imagine you have a lot of stubborn, quote unquote, professional writers that are writing their manuscript and they don't they probably buck the editing system.
Well, we see, it's true. And we see this in a lot of areas. Look, what we know about great leadership is you get around people that shore up your weakness, right? There's some people, putting it, into, I mean, you saw this stuff firsthand, actually. I can sing well, but I don't write music well. Mm-hmm. And so there's some very obscure people that have wrote some of the most amazing music we've ever listened to.
No question.
But they can't get behind a mic.
No.
And the guy that's singing the song has no business trying to write a song. He has tried, because it would be cool if he did. But he realizes that's not his thing. Mm-hmm. But we don't care as the consumer, because we know this is your gift. So that's an example, not an exact example. Like the book is 100% my content.
Of course.
But I don't know what a proposition is. Like, if I can be
predicate. I heard that on the drive today. Remember those things from school? What's a predicate?
Brother, I got nothing for you. I don't even know.
You're talking about that in the radio the radio this morning, right? Like, it's a predicate in the verb.
I have no business you're trying to act like I know what a predicate and a proposition and I before E, except for I would have needed a book doctor in a big way.
Well, is that symptomatic of life in general, though? Like, how often do you encounter people with significant talent, but there's a mentality that they just have to be in control of everything?
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's entrepreneur, it's corporate, it's absolutely everywhere, and it's rooted in some level of insecurity. I think, I really do. I have to have my pulse on everything and do everything. It's counterproductive. It's very much so counterproductive.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bad taste of that early on in my entrepreneurial journey, where I was so obsessed about the way the product was going to look and deliver and what the experience is going to be when the client opened the case, and just I wanted everything to be what was in my brain, and that meant I had to do all the steps in the process. Mm-hmm. And when I was little, I could do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then after we hit some level of success, I had to, and then I realized I should have been handing off and delegating things that I'm not really that good at all along the way.
Yeah.
But I was able to realize that, and I know a lot of people can't.
Yeah.
They can't let go.
It's true, especially entrepreneurs.
They can ultimately, right? But they just choose.
It's true,
not to.
Especially entrepreneurs, because it's like it's your baby. You fed the baby. You taught the baby how to walk. And so, man, you can grab onto that thing for dear life, and it's a risk. And I think about that with the book. Like, there's no way that book gets any level of success if I'm the one with the pen in my hand. There's just no way. I wouldn't read it. It's just not my gift. It's not my thing. Do I have the content? Could I get up in front of a stage and do a keynote on the book? 100%, and love to. But could I put all of those thoughts into a way that, because like things Abigail would do is say, this part of that chapter needs a story. Tell me about a story when, Jeff. Tell me about a story when, ... And I'm like, that's freaking genius, Abigail. Well, guess what? It's not her story. It's my story.
Correct.
It's my framework. But she just knew where to
place the
go.
puzzle
We need those
pieces.
people.
Yeah, I would think for sure. When you, like, when I complete this book, and again, we're coming at it, it's a little different for me because I know you.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm done with this book, what is the major message you want me to pull from here? That'll put you on the spot a little bit.
No, there's so much in there, but if I'm giving you kind of a mission statement of the book, is that this book is designed to make sure that we don't become leaders people report to. Or I'm sorry, we don't become bosses people report to, but we become leaders people don't want to let down. We don't want to be bosses people report to. We want to be leaders that people don't want to let down. And that is so skewed right now in leadership, Eric. I'm a product
At
of
all levels.
At all levels. I'm a product of leadership. I mean, full stop. I am. I'm the most unqualified person to reach any level of success. And I had some great leaders. And so many people define what great leadership is because they don't know any other way and no one's ever told them. I'm not here to go on record as saying my way is the way, the only way. But what I will tell you is that book is full of decades of experience, personal experience as a follower, experience as a leader. And I'm going to, the hope of the book is that I'm going to break the myths of what leaders are being taught out there. There's leaders listening right now to this show that think if you have ice cream socials on Friday and cotton candy, people are going to be fired up and ready to go. That's not true. There's people on the other side that say, I have a big stick and I'll make people bleed. And when I make people toe the line, they're going to do what I say. That's not true. So you have these spectrums that are happening, and then you bake in how fragile the workforce is right now, hence the title of the book. Mm-hmm. You got quiet quitting costing upwards of $9 trillion globally a year. We're coming through the great resignation where everybody jumped off the boat and said, YOLO, there's a better way. You know, we're leading.
This is all spurred on by probably 2020, right?
Oh, no, we're seeing it. Hey, look, there's more generations in the workforce than ever before. So you got a meeting right now with a boomer, and then right after this one with a Gen Z. Now, I'm not here to put anybody in a box, but what I can tell you is they most times think different and want different out of employment and want different out of their future. And you have to be the person that's leading through all this. Turnover's higher than it's ever been. Attracting top talent is harder than it's ever been. Wow, Jeff, thanks for motivating us. And if you're listening and you're like, yeah, that's why this sucks. No, let me help you pivot 1 second. This is the greatest opportunity in my lifetime that we've had to differentiate our leadership impact. Mm-hmm. That's a mindset shift of going from it. Things are so fragile and it's so hard. It's never been harder to lead. This is a golden opportunity for leaders to step up who, asterisks, genuinely care for people and get a framework that's simple, not easy, that I put into that book and take that to market and make impact in people who will then take care of your business.
Yeah, differentiation is the key, right?
Huge.
I mean, it's like, so it's almost like, do you believe that you need to find your own pathway? I mean, you're looking for how you're different as a leader, and you're taking good content, you're taking what you believe to be is the correct way to do it with your employees in mind, but you still have to find your own way in there. It's got to be yours.
It does.
Right?
It absolutely does. You know, it's like, look, I want to drive fast. I want to drive fast. If that's the goal, there's a lot of options. If you want to drive fast, mm-hmm. you could do that in a Lambo. Mm-hmm. You could do that in a Ferrari. You could do that in a Porsche, a McLaren. You could go down the list. Well, which one's right? It's preference. It's style. It's these things. When you're going over 150 miles an hour, I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about 16ths of inches. Yeah. People have to go into their leadership with their style. Where we go wrong is that we don't build a framework into our style. And our style ends up becoming our downfall.
Right.
And let me excite maybe one or two people that are listening that are passive leaders today. That's your style. You can be that introverted, I'm not the loudest person in the room, and lead with high impact. Mm-hmm. What you might be lacking is framework. And it's the same way with the aggressive leader, that everybody's quitting you because you're a jerk, but it's working for your balance sheet. There's a better way. So you can still take that tough, dominant, aggressive style and put some framework to it and become a boss that people don't want to let down.
Right.
That is the framework. And look, here, simple, not easy. Here's how simple the framework of the book is. If you want to be a leader that is great at giving tough feedback, there's 3 elements: expectations, feedback, and accountability. In that order. Okay. When I have this framework, well, let me ask this to make a point to everybody listening. If I were to ask, who is your Mount Rushmore of leaders? These are 4 people that you say, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be who I am. You can probably think of those 4 people pretty quick because they changed your life. Mm-hmm. Well, here's my question about those 4 people. Were they tough on you?
At times.
At times they were. But did you know they cared? And the answer is always yes. Mm-hmm. So what we're proving to ourselves in this moment is you can be tough and also care at the same time. It has to start with expectations. Because if you are going straight to accountability with expectations, you're a monster. If you are giving solid expectations and there's no accountability, you're a wuss. You're liked. You're not respected. Mm-hmm. You're a doormat, not just at work, too, in your social life. And
sure.
Everybody who is that person knows who they are. You're the doormat. And you feel like you're doing it all right. And after all I've done for them, this is how they're going to pay me back? Expectations. Speed limit sign is an expectation, right? Mm-hmm. We all see them every day. Mm-hmm. And then there's feedback, because there's not just one. You go down the turnpike, it's every few miles. They're giving you feedback to remind you of the expectation. But then when you're going 80 in a 65, you're going to get pulled over. And you might get a ticket. And if you keep getting tickets, the pain gets worse. Why? Because they're jerks? No, because they're upholding the expectation with feedback. Whether we like that speeding ticket or not, it's reasonable. Now, that's the far example, but imagine if we can put this into our leadership, where we're making sure that our expectations are clear, they're reasonable and fair, that people have been trained adequately to meet or exceed the expectation, and then the big one, which is make sure that people understand why meeting or exceeding the expectation is good for them.
Right.
This is where we tie in the why.
Then that's often missed.
Huge.
Why is that the most missed portion, do you think?
Because a lot of leaders are chasing key performance indicators, not people. That's why. And there's pressure. And we justify it in saying, well, look, if we're all hitting numbers, we're all getting money. And if we're all getting money, we're all winning. Okay. And that's just simply not true.
So is corporate America today, when it comes to, let's say, managing leadership metrics, are we drunk on data? Is the human element being put aside for
more
data?
Than ever? I mean, we got the launch of AI and all this stuff happening. I believe that the pendulum is going to swing so far back to human connection. The people that are preparing to touch hearts and minds of people today are going to be the ones that dominate in 7 years. Because I think there's going to be a resurgence of a craving of human connection. And if you are a leader or aspire to lead, I will tell you, use all the tools at your disposal. I'm here for it. But I will tell you, at the end of the day, leadership is about helping people reach their full potential, full stop. And when we get this right, And we're not just liked, but we're respected. We're not just the boss people report to. We're a leader that people don't want to let down. It changes the entire game. You know a little bit of my story.
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned from the military. I'm going to go to Cal U on the GI Bill. Nobody in my family had ever got a college degree. We were about to make big leaps here. My dad's about to get a leg amputated. He calls me and tells me they're sending my mom home in hospice, and he needs my help. Can you put it off a semester? Of course. So here's my dad rehabbing from a leg amputation, my mom in hospice, and I'm just trying to get everything tied together here. And I'm talking about, like, I just got to get a seasonal job to help pay some prescription co-pays and whatnot. The problem was I didn't have a lot of skill. And so I become a fill-in truck driver at Cintas Uniform Company, picking up dirty clothes, throwing them in a truck, giving them clean clothes. Well, I ended up being a pretty good truck driver, and what I thought was going to be a seasonal job ends up being a 25-year career. And I'm this truck driver, and I'm making $21K a year, and I'm living large. But I would see these guys walking around the office with really nice suit coats and ties and shiny shoes, and they drove these fancy cars. I'm sure you heard of them, Honda Accords. I mean, these guys were balling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I want to be these guys. And so I learned these are salespeople. And so, man, I fight. I go to a Dale Carnegie sales class. I'm trying to get more sales acumen. I'll make the long story short. I get my break in sales, and I find out really quick I suck at it. I'm horrible at it. And I had a sales manager who would jump in the car and he would teach me sales. And he would take sales calls and let me observe his. And here's this kid with no education, doesn't know lick about sales, just trying to tie success to helping his hurt family. And this guy's pouring in. Like, he would take me into the conference room and teach me how to overcome objections and how to give outbound interest creating statements to drive activity. He would go beyond the job. One time he pulled into Joseph A. Bank and taught me how to dress. He took me into the men's room one time and taught me how to tie a Windsor knot. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a guy going above and beyond, staying late, coming in early to help me win. And he would ask me all the personal questions to, hey, how's your mom? Hey, how's your family? Hey, Jake was 18 months old at the time, whatever. And I'm starting to have a level of success. Things are going pretty good. And he's like, man, you keep this up, you're going to make President's Club. You're on pace. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So things are going great. And one day, one morning, I get a call, and my dad said they just rushed your mom to the hospital. And Jeff, you need to get there. And I did. And it was the last day I got to hold her. And it rocked me, Eric. And I mean, rocked me. My why? Gone. I was broken. Mm-hmm. This had been a 26-year journey I was on, watching this woman get ripped apart from limb to limb, surgeries, having her stomach taken out, a leg amputated, you name it. It was a life of sheer, but I was starting to get somewhere that I could help them.
Sure.
I went into a dark place. I didn't care about that Honda Accord anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care about that fancy Joseph A. Bank suit. I was showing up to work, but I was a shell. I wasn't doing cold calls. I wasn't doing sales meetings. I was just there. And my manager pulled me into the office one day, and he said, my heart breaks that your mom's gone, but enough's enough. I'm going to give you 24 hours, and you need to make a hard decision. Whatever you decide, I get it. But you're not going to go on like this. You're either going to show up tomorrow, and you're going to be the person that I know you can be, or if you continue acting like this, you're not going to be able to be on my team. And he said, and before you give me my answer, I want to remind you that you have a wife counting on you. You have an 18-month-old son still counting on you. And you got more kids you want to have, and you have a dad that's recovering from a major surgery that needs you. Don't blow this opportunity. I was so angry. The OG rebellious teenage Jeff just wanted to pop him one time and walk out and say, who are you to tell me You inconsiderate. The grave dirt is still fresh and you're coming to me? But that's not what I did. And I will tell you why. The deposit Sean made in my life earned him the right to have the firm feedback when I needed it most.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Eric, I think so often, if Sean had not been my leader in that moment, would I even be who I am? 11 more promotions in that company, multiple President's Club awards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to tell anybody that I've arrived, but I can tell you this, I am not where I started. And it's guys like Sean Coyne that stepped in and earned the right with expectations, feedback, and accountability, and then pay it forward. I go on to spend 10 plus years as a leader in that company doing the same thing for other people. And now I'm literally traveling all over the place, helping other leaders do this through workshops and books, because at the end of the day, it's about people. It's really not about your balance sheet, although I'm here for it. When you get people right through this, not only is it good for business, I don't know what's more fulfilling than helping somebody reach their potential.
Right.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
It's like, as coarse as this is, to me, it just comes back down to, and it's elemental, it's like when you actually have moments where you feel like somebody in a leadership position actually gives a shit about you.
That's right. You feel that.
Yeah. And if you let yourself feel that, if you're able to recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same.
It's powerful.
It is so powerful. And not only like, you know, they genuinely care, but they also have a boundary. Because genuinely caring is a prerequisite to leadership impact. Let's start there. Mm-hmm. If you don't genuinely care for people, like, don't get into leadership. That's like petting a cat backwards. Why would you?
And there are people out there with positions in leadership right now that are not willingly equipped to do it right.
No, they're not. And it's like, you can pet a cat backwards, but you're not having a good time. The cat's miserable. Why would you? Like, get out of leadership. There's a place in the world for you. But then there's the leader that genuinely does care about people, and they're not effective.
No, because they're not equipped.
They're not equipped. They didn't know. Eric, I've done, I don't know, dozens of these workshops. I'll have 20-year tenured leaders pull me off to the side almost embarrassingly and say, nobody's teaching this. Nobody's teaching this. If I would have had this 20 years ago, I can only imagine. And it's taught.
Well, okay. So if you go back and look at so many organizations, especially as they grow, where do their leaders come from? Well, they usually are people that do a job exceptionally well.
That's right.
And they immediately, because it's just the way it used to work.
That's right.
They got bumped up to
lead
with no real examination whether they are either equipped or have the capacity to become equipped to do it effectively.
That's right.
Right?
That is 100. It is a chronic problem. And I'll tell you,
even today, though, with I remember decades prior for sure.
Still, you know, the risk we run there. Matter of fact, in our last mastermind session, we talked about how to build a leadership bench, and why it is still a problem. And look, I'm a trainer and author and all this stuff, but I'm in the foxhole. Like, I'm inside companies consulting, building strategy. I'm telling you, this is a problem, which is why we have to build leadership development programs before they get titles. Because what happens is you take that peak performer, that individual contributor who thinks they want to be a leader, and you think they should be because they're the best one on the squad, and you promote them, and they're not prepared, and they realize how hard it is. And in some cases, especially in a sales role, they're making less money as a leader than they were.
Without question.
And they're like, screw this.
How about when they get promoted and they really don't want the job?
There's that. They just think it's the next obvious thing. So why wouldn't you do that? Because what they're saying when they say yes to the promotion is, I want more.
More money.
Yeah.
And more power.
I want all that.
More responsibility.
Oh. So here's what ends up happening. You thrust them into leadership. They hate it. They quit. So now you actually have lost two people. You've lost a leadership role, and you've vacated a peak performer individual contributor all in one fell swoop. We can't do this. And I'll tell you, an organization that has done this well is the NFL. How many Hall of Fame players have had any success as a head coach? I mean, you could probably rattle off a few.
Not many.
Not many. Look, we're Pittsburgh guys. If I were to ask 100 Pittsburghers, where did Mike Tomlin play college ball?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. And here's the reality. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
You know, I'm not here to say he's the best coach to ever coach. I mean, look, you could go down the list. Belichick. I mean, you could go down the list. So there's something to be said about not every peak performer is going to be a leader. That's not to say they can't be. But what we do have to do is we have to equip them. That's why we have curriculum for the book. So that it's not just a book that someone's like, check the box. I read a national best-selling book. Boy, it was great. Okay, great. Now you're equipped to win leadership trivia night. That's not the goal. Like, we want to apply the content.
Is that?
Right.
What bar is that at?
If that's your thing. Like, tell me where that is. I'm playing, right? But, I mean, look, I am passionate about equipping leaders because I am a product, literally a product, of accidentally running into some of the best leaders the world has to offer. Mm-hmm. Guys that would tell me what a collar stay was. Right. We need these people in our life. And so many people will shy away from the firm conversations that we need to have that mold and shape us. We are a product of either the feedback we've been given or the feedback that is missing from our life. That's who you are, Eric. That's who I am. I am a product of the feedback that I've been given or the feedback that's been missing from my life. Mm-hmm. As leaders, we have this golden opportunity to, wait for it, earn the right to have a tough conversation. And it could, here's another analogy. Eric and I, we're going to a business show in Nashville in 2 weeks, and we're preparing to showcase our goods of why they should use our podcast studio, whatever it is we're doing. And we got our game plan and our elevator pitch down and how we're going to look and, you know, all of this stuff. And I say, Eric, if we were walking into that trade show and I smelled some odor from your breath, would you want me to let you know?
Of course.
Okay. And you know what? I'm committed to that because I know what you're about and I know how important this is to you. And I know your mission around making sure that people see you in your best as a first impression.
Absolutely.
So I want to let you know, like, if that happens, I'll do that for you, man. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks go by, we're walking into the show, and I say, Eric, a couple weeks ago, we talked about preparing for this meeting and so forth, and there's something you asked me to do. Mm-hmm. And, hey, man, I wanted you to know, while I'm pulling the mint out.
Never turn down a mint.
That Starbucks is hitting on you, my man.
Never turn down a mint.
And I hand that mint to you. What's the next words out of your mouth to me?
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, check this out. I hope this drives perspective. We're in line at a convenience store. You're behind me in line. Mm-hmm. I've never met you before. Mm-hmm. It's the same breath. Mm-hmm. So I turn around to you and I say, sir, your breath stinks. Mm-hmm. Now there's offense. Who are you to tell me? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. I told you the truth. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. In one scenario, I earned the right. In the other scenario, I didn't. But in both scenarios, I'm right. Mm-hmm. The data's telling me this. Far too often, leaders want to be right.
There's the disconnect.
That is the disconnect.
There's the disconnect.
The goal of leadership is not to be right. It's to be effective. And when you take frameworks like that,
that's powerful.
You can literally have the hardest conversations with people, and they don't even like hearing it, but they say, thank you. Mm-hmm. You know how many times in the last 20 years plus that I've told Sean, if it wasn't for that conversation that day, I don't know if I'd be who I am. Mm-hmm. And I could go down the list. Your Mount Rushmore, you could think vividly right now of a moment when they were like, what are you doing, man? That's not who you are. I can't let you continue to do this. And you didn't like hearing it, but it pivoted you enough that you could get back on track. We're not here to be nice. We're not here to be mean. We're here to see feedback as information, not good or bad. We shouldn't be fearful. Fear stands for fallout, emotion, amateur, retaliation. That's what holds us back. If I'm putting it together, that's what holds us back from having tough conversations. But when you practice this and learn this framework, now you have leadership confidence that can literally change lives and change organizations.
Yeah, I mean, if I had it banged into me as a young person that feedback is a tool. You got to remove the emotion from it, and it's really hard.
It is.
It's very difficult.
It is.
But it's such a vital tool, and without it, you're lost.
It is. And we've all been there where, the
100%.
chest is beating, palms are sweating, work a little bit clammy going in to tell that peak performer they need to stop acting like a moron in the meetings. Peak performer. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, what if they get upset and quit? Here's the mindset there is like, we think so much as leaders, as parents too, if you're listening. If I have this conversation, this is what could go wrong. That's a choice to that mindset. But what if you have this conversation and it changes their life?
Sure.
And
What could go
improves your
right?
culture.
100%.
Like that's also a choice to think that way.
100%.
Right?
The mind goes to the negative.
Yeah.
It's a human condition.
Yeah.
Too often.
Look, maybe you're listening. You're not a leader at all. Take the chances. Go in the rooms that you don't know if you belong in or not. Something great could happen. If you are a leader, have a mindset that you haven't arrived yet, and there's more to learn. And look, I'm not saying it's my book. Maybe it's something else. But certainly, I would love to support leaders with the book and the curriculum and equip leaders to make big wins.
Do you think that there's elements in here that translate to personal relationships?
Oh, yes.
Family relationships.
Oh, man.
I mean, to me, the toughest thing I've encountered has really never been giving family feedback. Mm-hmm. I mean, I learned early on. I was getting a lot of feedback from parents. I wanted to give it back a couple times.
Right.
But no, I think friendship, sometimes you think it'd be easier to give feedback, but oftentimes friends are the most difficult ones to get yourself enough courage to have the conversation.
It's true. Kids, children, spouses. Inevitably, almost every workshop, somebody will say to me, you should really make this a parenting class. And my response is always the same. And I say, who told you it wasn't? I mean, don't fool yourself because I'm a leadership expert that this isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I know this sounds like an author trying to sell his book here, but hear my heart. Leadership is not about titles. It's about impact. Mm-hmm. And this is an opinion. My opinion is the greatest leadership title on planet Earth is that of mom or dad. Leadership starts at home.
Certainly.
It starts at home.
Or the lack thereof.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you this. If your family unit is a disaster, the odds of you being a productive leader in business are not great.
Right.
They're just not. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's not great because the problem here is that you have not had the fundamentals. Well, you know what? When I tell my daughter not to eat cookies before dinner, like she just throws a fit. No kidding. You don't think that's going to happen in the office? Are you kidding me? I know, but things are so much more peaceful when they're eating sugar at home. Like they seem to mellow out. Yeah, until they have diabetes. Do you want your kid to have diabetes? No.
There's always a consequence.
There's always a consequence. Because I'm going to tell you this. When you're walking out of the doctor's office that day and the doctor pulls you off to the side and says, your daughter's pre-diabetic. And if she doesn't stop eating so much sugar, she's going to be on an insulin pump. Any good parent would have the hard conversation at that point and say, I got to stop feeding you sugar. That child is going to think you're an absolute monster. You've been giving me sugar for 8 years. I have a buffet of sugar in the pantry. I have full access. And you know how I like it. And you know how it mellows me out. This isn't about what you like. This is about me earning the right to have a tough conversation that's going to save your life. Sometimes in leadership, we got to lean into some hard conversations. Mm-hmm. But if we have earned the right, it's that thing that can transform how somebody responds. We can literally save people from demise.
Sure.
That's leadership.
Sure.
Instead of talking about how things can go wrong and how hard it is to lead right now, man, we have an opportunity as leaders to step up and make impact. This is huge. This is mindset. You think of a trauma surgeon. A trauma surgeon never once, when they're yelling, we got a gunshot wound. A trauma surgeon is never like, gosh, not another one. This sucks. No, in some freaky, sick way, they get excited. Why? Because they've spent most of their life doing something that most people aren't qualified to do.
Sure.
You let a trauma surgeon sit around an ER for too many days doing nothing, they're going to get discontent.
Certainly.
Can you imagine that? Sitting in the lunchroom with the trauma surgeon like, hey, doc, how's things going? It kind of sucks. Why? Nobody's gotten shot or had a head-on collision lately. Wait, what? Are you saying you want that to happen? And the doctor's like,
There's a loaded question.
I like, no, like, wait, what am I saying? Right? Like, no, I don't want people to get hurt, but this is my gift. Matter of fact, I hope nobody gets hurt here ever again, but if they're not, I'm leaving. I need to go where they're getting hurt. Think of this mindset.
Yeah.
If we can get there as leaders, not only are we responding to tough conversation opportunity, we're getting out of our leadership chair, Eric.
Certainly.
And we're getting up and we are looking for that conversation.
Right.
Because we know it's at the hand of that conversation that transformation changes.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff. An aggressive leader listening, please don't end this episode and say, I already got that covered. I tell people exactly how I feel. Here's my question. Did you earn the right? Did you earn the right? Because if you didn't, you're just a jerk.
And that might be the crux of it all, right? Have you earned the right
to
have the conversation?
That's critical. We talk in the book about deposits and withdrawals, which at one point I sucked at. The lowest performance review I ever got out of a possible 4. In one category, 1 year, I got a 2. Me. Got a 2. What are you talking about? Matter of fact, the year I got the 2, Eric, this is wild. I was sales manager of the region, and I got a 2 on employee engagement.
Ooh.
And
that's a dick kick.
Oh man, I was flaming mad. I'm like, bro, you handed me the trophy at the year-end meeting, and I'm getting a 2 here. Like, look at my results. I beat projections by 80%. You know, and he was like, look, this is a
different metric.
Oh man, he's like, that's that category. This is this category. He said, I'm not. Look, your results are great, but what you did to people to make them happen is not sustainable,
not cool,
and not effective. He pulls 3 50-cent pieces out of his pocket, and he says, before I give you this, I want to tell you something. I believe you're a good man, but you are chasing results, not people. By the way, your turnover is excess of 35%. That tells me people don't want to work for you. And you just hire a new person, whip them into shape, and they'll go sell and make things happen. I have no concerns about your results, but you're built for more, and you're not here just to be a sales manager. You have the ability to be promoted and make big impact in a big org chart. And he throws 3 50-cent pieces to me. And he says, I want those on your nightstand. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to put them in your left pocket. Before your day is allowed to end, they have to go into your right pocket, one at a time. And the only way that they can is if you make a deposit or find someone doing something well and tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this isn't an idea. It's a job requirement. I want to know this is happening. He said, this is 15 deposits a week times 52 weeks. He said, when you do this, because I already know you care. but you need to tell people. Because when you do this, what you're doing is you're building the bank.
Of course.
And you're earning the right. Here's what we know about leadership. You're going to make some
course.
withdrawals. But have you earned the right? You know, Simon Sinek tells us people will work for their what, but they'll die for their why. Mm-hmm. Do you even know? Are you asking the questions in the one-on-one debrief, like, why is success important to you? Are you reiterating the expectation? Are you giving feedback?
Okay.
All of that.
So let me ask you this. So how important is it for, and I guess it depends on the size of the organization too, but if you have, let's just say in your organization, you've got less than 15 direct reports, how important is it to know your employees on a personal level? Like, how do you balance that? Like, because I would think if you got to know someone pretty well, you could put quite a few deposits in there.
You can.
But if it's not, I mean, is there a point where you've got to keep a certain amount of personal, or like, how do you manage that?
That's a great question, Eric. This is a moving target. And I will tell you who makes the mistake the most is the small business owner, because they want to create a family here.
Right.
So let me start by saying we're not family here. We are not family here. If you are referencing your company as family, you're wrong. This is one guy's opinion. You are wrong, and please stop doing that. It's offensive.
Happens a lot.
It happens a lot. Hey, we're all family here. We're not. We're not a family here. You will fire people for not doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Can't fire your kid.
Can't fire.
You can try.
Yeah.
You may want to.
We're a dream team. We're not a family. You kidding me? Like, no. And by the way, they'll quit you too. So we're not a family. We're trying to build cohesive, all of this stuff. The mantra that I always go to with that question, Eric, is we need to be friendly, not friends. We need to be friendly, not friends. You know, we should not be at happy hour every night with our team.
Yeah.
We should not be maybe in the bowling league or playing golf with our team. Like, you're not there to be their friend.
Yeah, it's a healthy separation.
It's a healthy separation.
For
Yes.
structure.
But should you find ways to make deposits into their personal life? Yes. Because they're not working to make your stock price go up. They're working to take care of what matters to them most.
Of course.
And if you know
that's
that,
the human experience.
yeah,
there.
that's what my manager did to me in that moment. He reminded me. Why? And how did he know? All those hours in the car, all those hours.
Right.
He asked.
Right.
If you don't know, you don't really care.
100%.
I mean, look, send flowers to the funeral home. Got it. Just check in the box. You weren't on the journey. And I'm not saying we're here to be people's counselors and all of this stuff. But if you just ask them, why is success important to you? I'll give you an example. I had a client right now that was telling me, man, we had perhaps the best intern we've ever had this summer. This kid, above reproach, extra mile. This dude would come into my office at the end of the day and say, hey, boss, I'm leaving for the day. Is there anything you need before I go? He's like, who does this these days? And I said, I'll tell you who does this. Somebody that had great parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's who does this. My man did not come out of the womb this way.
Right.
He got some parents that were creating some structure.
Nurture.
I said, here's what you do. You write a letter to his parents.
That's impressive.
Not him. Write a letter to his parents and thank them for developing him and how rare it is that you see it. I said, here's the other thing. If you end up hiring this intern, is his first year going to be hard? He's like, it's the hardest. I said, yeah. And when he goes home defeated, deflated, feeling like he wants to quit, who's he going to tell? His parents. And that's when they're going to say, you're not quitting. Stop being a crybaby. I know your boss. He's a good man. Mm-hmm. You need to keep fighting. Mm-hmm. Now we're in this thing together.
Yeah, that's strong. That's strong advice there.
So, long way to answer a short question.
Yeah,
but the answer is be very tactful in building the relationship, but be very intentional Very intentional. When you're intentional, it goes beyond a birthday card
Certainly.
and a nice job. And here's your penknife for your 20
You
year
gotta make
anniversary.
it personal. You gotta
Find ways.
hit. Yeah, you gotta find a way to hit the soul, hit the heart. You know.
That's the key. And if you genuinely care for people, now I'm just trying to find ways to get creative. I remember one time it was a Monday debrief with my manager from DC, and I ended by saying, "Hey, what do you guys got going on this weekend? Doing anything fun?" Just a simple. After we talked about results and sales funnel and all of it, and he's like, "Man," he's like, "Thanks for asking." He's like, "My son's actually playing in the state championship this weekend for soccer," and I'm like, "Bro, that is freaking awesome! Like, how many people ever get a chance to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, hey, tell him I said good luck." We got off the call. I grabbed my stationery, grabbed my pen. I started writing a note to his son, and I started talking about how his dad is a winner and how his dad overcomes adversity. And there's a lot of it here. And I said, you're going to go into the state championship game, and some parts you might be winning and some you might be losing. But look, just play the next minute. Do exactly what your dad does. Hey, by the way, thanks for sharing your dad with us. And I dropped a fake gold coin in it that said, "Dare to soar with an eagle." And I said, look, at the end of that game, if you win, celebrate hard with your teammates. And if you lose, keep daring to soar, cheering for you. I send this not to my sales manager, to his son by name. And I send it. I'm telling my manager, I heard you.
Oh, of course.
I'm telling the rest of the family,
Strong.
I value you.
Very strong.
I don't need you just to hit another sale. I do need you to do that. But I want you to know I see you. Now, hey, guess what? 6 weeks from that, he blows his number. He's late to the sales meeting. Have I earned the right to have that tough conversation? Yeah, because, look, you might not like what I'm about to say, but you will not question whether I care or not, because I have shown, not told you that I do.
Yeah, that's very strong. That's a very strong example.
We got to show it. People see better than they hear.
They do. They see action. They feel action.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, words are important. I mean, the words are,
They are important.
They're hugely important. They can be. But action is so much more impactful.
Believe half of what you hear and all of what you see.
Firm feedback in a fragile world. Jeff Hancher, thank you.
Brothers, grateful.
Yeah, I got more, and please come back for our panel shows, buddy.
I love those.
Yeah,
absolutely love those.
We love the deep dive.
I love them, man. They go a lot of places that you normally wouldn't go. Very think tank.
Yeah. We're gonna start.
Love it.
We were all talking last night. We just filmed one with Samantha Fargo and Amy Wisniewski and Rocco Cozza. I was telling Jeff about it. That'll be launched in a few days, right before this show. But we're gonna start using AI to start drilling down and getting questions that are just maybe just even a tad more unusual than what we can come up with ourselves.
But digging in below the surface.
Yeah, because I'll admit the machine can sometimes come up with things that I'm not going to. So
for sure.
Yeah, example of trying to put the ego aside and say there's a better way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, it's all about output, right? So
in the end,
and on that note, thank you, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
The content you're putting out, the people that you're having on the show, your commitment to doing it.
Yeah, it's a great hobby. It's like and very blessed the Cozza Law Group sponsors us, trusts enough that we're putting out good content.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
It just works, and I'm very grateful that we're like year 6, if you can believe that. It's
wild.
like we're over 6 years now. It doesn't seem possible.
Goes quick.
It doesn't seem possible that we've had that many exchanges, but it's really, selfishly, it's been a great part of my life. It's enriching.
It goes so fast. We just hit our 5-year anniversary.
Damn.
And it's like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
You ever think about the people that you're impacting that you'll never know?
Yeah, I do. I do when I get a letter or an email from people. Yeah, I got that early on with the guitar business, Jeff, because our customers were all over the world. And it was the coolest thing back in 98, 99 to get some gentleman in Sweden calling me on the phone, and having he had to hand his wife the phone because she knew English a little better than him. And just to see, and then him getting the guitar and seeing the joy and how it really made the world much smaller. But here, getting messages, I got an email from a gentleman in Russia. He was using Google to translate it back and forth with me, and he got connected with us over a musician, and I can't remember which one it was, but
so fulfilling.
Now he's addicted. He says, "I don't know any of you," and basically, now I'm addicted. It's just people really deep conversations, and I don't know any of you.
Yeah,
I know. I said I'm very grateful. So yes, that's the power of having real conversations. I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a human craving for that, and that's why sometimes I don't think the actual human matters as much as the willingness to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. And I appreciate the platform. Look, I had to pull back a few times because this is what I'm passionate about. You let people come on that are passionate about their thing.
Of course.
Right? And I hope it resonated with some people. This leadership thing is not to be taken lightly.
No, I liked it because it opened my eyes again, and I'm sure the book will continue to do that because I'm diving into it today. But your transition from business to family here, it's so true. I mean, leadership does start at the home.
No question.
The moment that child's brought into the world.
Yes.
And your greatest leaders could really use that foundation when they're young.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Yes. Think about like how many times. This probably only happens at my house. It might be unrelatable, but like your teenage son stinks. Is it? I hope he's not listening because he's a fine young man now. Amazing man, financial advisor. But man, there was some times when my man was 13, 14 years old, he'd jump in the car and I'd be like, dear Lord.
Yeah, they just don't figure it out. Right
yeah, and what you want to be like is like, what the heck are you thinking? Get back in the house, get the deodorant on, right? But look, if we can start setting some expectations, because I'm going to tell you this, as soon as I found out, like he started getting some interest in some ladies. And
you had to get that shored up a little bit, right?
Oh man! So I'd be like, hey Jake, like, hey, if I ever saw an opportunity that would enhance your chances with the ladies, would you want me to tell you? Of course. Now I'm tying it to a why. It's the same data as it was before, but now I'm like, hey man, you might want to throw in a breath mint. You might want to throw some cologne on that. Now it's like, thanks, Dad. Why? Because now I understand why it's important to him.
Of course.
Which
when you unwind, it's so elemental, but we just don't. We miss it constantly.
Yep. That's it. We're not here to drive compliance. We're here to drive engagement. And I hope this framework can help people do that.
I think it will. Thank you, partner.
Thank you, brother.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. Thank you.
Jeff Hancher.
Thanks, Eric.
We're out, guys.